want everyone to close their eyes. Okay? We're all going to close our eyes here. Don't cheat.
Are we going to sleep?
This isn't like church. Everyone close their eyes. I want you to envision your financial picture, where you're at in life, finances, everything, right? And I want you to picture all the things that happen and how you get attacked, right? So we're going to go on this little journey. And this journey is going to take us across different lands. So I want you to envision yourself right now in, I don't know, New York City.
I was thinking Hawaii, but I'll
Shut up.
New York
This
City.
isn't your thing. I want you to envision New York City right now and the hustle and bustle of all the cars honking and in your way and how frustrating that is, right? Maybe get hit. Maybe get mugged. You never know. Okay? You're walking through. Now you're in the forest, right? What are some things that can attack you in the forest? A damn bear, one of them. Avalanches, whatever you want to do, okay? And you're still going on this journey, and you're traveling around, and things happen, right? In our financial world. We're not going to get details with those, but that happen in our financial world. And you're frustrated. You feel alone, kind of like you're all alone in a desert. Deserts are hot, muggy, you're thirsty, you're always searching for water, not knowing where to go. And then while you're in that desert, not figuring out where to go, some big ass black mammoth comes in, right? And it offers its trunk to you with a little nod and a little wink. And you accept. Black mammoth picks you up with its big ass trunk, puts you on its back, nice and warm, comfortable. All that noise, all that stress just kind of goes away. It's still there. It's a bumpy ride. It's a damn mammoth, so it's going to be bumpy. Things are going to happen. And as you're on this ride, you realize that you're no longer thirsty because there's now water in your hand. You're no longer hungry because there's food in your hand. You no longer have those stresses of what's going on in life as much because this mammoth is not only leading you to prosper, but is taking care of you and protecting you away from those bears. Kicks shit out of them, right? Those lions in the Serengeti, sharp-ass tusks pierces them. Those cars, they don't try to run over a mammoth because they've never seen one, right? You can open your eyes. And that's who the hell we are. That's Black Mammoth. This is the part of the journey. It's going on a ride. It's going to be bumpy as hell, but we're here to be that nice little wool blanket, keep you warm and safe. All right? So to start this journey, everyone needs to know that it starts before you work with us. It starts with watching our content, watching other content, following us, asking questions. Because before you can get on a journey, you have to be able to accept that mammoth's ability to grab you and put you on stand back. If you're not willing to be accepted, we can't lift you up. We can't help you. We can't do anything that's involved with that. So we're going to push everyone to our content, understand what's going on. You're going to have some education there. You're going to figure your own stuff out just a little bit before you can really commit to coming on the journey with us. Because if you can't commit, then we can't really help you, and it won't work out well.
Yeah, you have to be a partner in this. We can't drag you along.
Yeah. And
or the mammoth can't drag you along.
The damn mammoth on our backs, right? So let's take that pressure off your back. And know this is a lifelong thing. It's even longer than that as we get through this. It's going to take time. It's okay that it takes time. You have to be okay with that. Now, our first tier and how we start things. How do you start things in life? What do you need to have?
A good foundation.
Yes.
Da, da,
Yes.
da.
Da, da, da.
Da, da, da.
So, in our foundations tier, what are the essentials?
One of the biggest essentials, and we had a huge episode about it not long ago, is budget reconciliation.
You just went through that with...
That's a big word.
We're going through all that with our clients right now.
That's a whole lot of words.
What the
That's a big word.
What
does
the
that
hell
mean?
does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does budget reconciliation mean?
I don't
Thanks.
even know what a budget is. What are you talking about? Like, we got to start basic.
Basic.
What's a budget?
I think Byron knows you don't know what a budget is.
No.
Kita, joke. Yeah.
What kind of income you got? What
What
kind of expenses you have? What else goes in a budget?
What's coming in?
mean, staying basic with it, it's what's coming in, what's going out. That's what we're really looking at. But we do it in a very, very detailed one-page snapshot that we're going to send out that encompasses all those incomes coming in, all those debts going out, all those Netflix subscriptions, all those cell phone payments.
Amazon,
DoorDash,
exactly.
Target.
Target.
I mean,
Ooh,
the list goes
Hard
on.
hard.
Yeah, right. So
The list goes on and on. But it's everything from consistent stuff that you're paying every month, whether it's a loan payment that's basically the exact same and it's fixed every single month, or miscellaneous stuff. You go out and you have entertainment this month, or you have a vacation plan, something like that that's going to throw your budget for a wonky, a spin. That's what we're going to do, is we're going to keep you on a month-to-month basis there.
I think what's going in also is about your income. It could be W-2, could be a side gig, could be a business. There's lots of ways to bring in some income too.
why is it important? Or no, let me back up. Is a budget something negative that people should worry about, or is it something positive to help them grow?
I mean, I view it as positive to help me grow. We talked about it in the one episode, and what does a budget mean to you? It's a goal planning tool for me. I mean, if I don't have that budget and that action steps that I'm taking, then how am I going to reach my financial goals?
Yeah, for me, it's a big self-awareness tool to know where I'm at now and where I need to go. It gives me a good picture. It gives the client a good picture.
Lindsay?
Same for me. Definitely. Same for me. It's a goal planning tool. It's guidelines, right? And then being open to it changing too, right? Like when you have major life events going on. I mean, we had one fairly recently. Like we just had a little girl, and that changed the budget.
Budget blows up.
Those damn diapers. Oh, man.
Diapers and daycare.
Diapers, daycare, and formula.
I was just thinking about if
Awful.
I was investing all that money going to daycare.
Don't do it.
Ooh,
And
I
you
stopped-
start,
I
you'll
stopped-
start
I
putting a
stopped
price
thinking
tag
about
on your child, and you're like, you better get a damn
Oh,
scholarship.
right. I had
You're
to
going pro. 'cause
I had
I don't
to
have
stop
any.
it.
I need a return out of this thing. Right. So, I mean, all those are great. Those are exactly how we perceive it and how everyone should too. And on the reconciliation side is every month, every year, every quarter, all those things, going through each transaction to make sure it's in its right bucket. But also, while you're doing that, you start to understand how we can optimize the cash flow, right? So it's not only recognizing what the expenses are and the income and making sure it's all kosher, but now it gives us an actual insight onto what we can do with that cash flow, correct? So when we say cash flow optimization, we love big words. I promise you, off camera, we don't use them. When we mean that, what do we mean by that? Like legitimately, what is cash flow optimization? Can someone answer that? Simply.
Making sure that I'm going to say, just cutting the stuff out that you don't really need and you're not using. So
Right.
subscriptions is where I start, right? Like, do I really need that box that shows up every month?
Absolutely.
Depends on the box.
Yeah, it depends on
Yeah.
what's in
What's in
that.
the box?
What's in the box?
What's in there?
But you're right. I don't know what episode it was because we're bad at remembering what those was, but it's trimming the fat, right? We're going to talk about food a lot. You
Oh, yeah, that
want
was a good
to
analogy.
trim the fat to a quarter of an inch, right? There's still going to be fat there. You still have that flexibility. Things are going to happen. It's life. But you don't want that inch plus, right? That's not going to help you at all. Also, cash flow optimization saying, where the hell does it go? Right? Not only trimming some of it, but now we have it. Where do we put it, and where does it go? And that's where we get into, part of the tier of review options for savings and investing, right? So once we optimize it, there's going to be cash left over. Now, what can we do, or where do we go with it? Is a very important piece, and we'll hit upon a previous episode of traditional versus Roth IRAs. That's a good start, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regular ass savings account, something we've always driven home. Have an emergency fund, right? Some type of emergency savings. Those would be some of those options. I think the next biggest one for foundations is the debt analysis and pay down strategies, right? Now, obviously, we cleaned up the budget and whatnot, but now it's like, okay, well, you've got 14 credit cards, a car or 7,
Our house.
700 student loans.
That was that call.
That was that call? Yeah, good call. I mean, all of those bigger things, and what can we do about it? So someone take me through just generically, right? We'll get into detailed video of our debt analysis and pay down strategies, but let's, why don't we go through some of the not go through the strategies, but some ideas when someone's to look at their debt and what the hell they do with all of it.
I think first off, it's important just to get statements, understand how much they owe, where the interest rate is at, and that gives us a really good initial picture to start, and then we can move on from there.
Yeah, and like you said, it's organizing. Okay, we need to organize this however the person wants to do it, whether they want to organize it by, you know, the biggest payoff that they have, or whether they want to organize it by, you know, the highest interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going to be our job next to dive into, okay, what's that threshold and what do we need to, you know, attack first, and then roll on to the next thing.
You also have to look at, what are they trying to accomplish? Like, what's the reason that we're needing to get them out of the debt situation that they're in, right? Are we trying to buy a house? Are we trying to put more towards retirement? What are we trying to do here? Because that really ultimately drives what we do next as far as that debt analysis and making sure that we're putting their money to work the right way.
Absolutely. And then the other part of it is the mindset behind what is debt. That was me.
No, that was me.
Oh, right, because you have the volume. Ha, I got an email at the same time, by the way. The next piece is the mindset behind debt, right? Our philosophy with debt is there's bad debt, credit cards, student loans. Everything else is an asset that can go to work for you, right? A loan is an ability to make you more money, right? We'll use an example of Lindsay right now. Getting a little loaner on her little piece of land, little minuscule thing in Illinois. It's a little bit bigger than that. But it's an asset
to the world.
Right? It's an asset that is sitting there that, yes, it's getting rented and all that stuff, but what else could we do? What we can do is take the equity out and let it go to work to make it pay itself off, the actual debt of it, and make a greater return. And guess what happens once it pays itself off? You do it again. And so the same asset is making, one, it's paying for itself, making you money, and repeating itself over and over and over again, right? So that mindset about what is debt needs to flip for the majority of people. And that's what we work on educating, because your home, for example, is the same thing as that land. There's equity in it. You want to pay it off as fast as you can. Again, doesn't make much sense, because then it's just sitting there and not doing anything for you, right? Because if you revert back to episode with Brian, I have no idea what number that is.
Knows what number
The episode with Brian, and we really hit home the fact that your primary home is a losing asset if you don't use the equity for what it's worth. And I'm going to simplify that before we move on. Is interest rates are going up. We'll take 4.5%. Okay, let's take a little while for interest rates to get up there. If my home is at 4.5%, do you think I can take some equity out of it and get a higher return than 4.5%, or just 4.5%, let alone higher? Is that doable?
Yeah, I sure hope so.
I mean, obviously we know that from one of our bank accounts that gets us 8%, just in a fixed account, right? So we know that, for example, is a win, let alone all the other things you do. So if you're sitting on your house and you're not doing those things, it's not paying for itself anymore. It's not getting you a return. Your money is just sitting there, hanging out, hoping that the house is appraised. Yeah. So like Texas. Texas is very high in homes. Ours are high too. Okay. Yeah. Is it going to keep on that pace to keep you getting your appreciation? I don't know. You should look back in history. Look at 2008. Let me know if that worked out well for those people. For you young people, it didn't. It did not work well. It's called housing crisis. Look it up. It's on Google. You'll be fine.
So I think the value, what this brings up for me is clients come in asking about how to prioritize. And I think the value we can bring as planners, as advisors, is really to have that conversation with them and help them break it down. What is important? What should we tackle first? Because it gets confusing. I have debt. Do I need to invest? Should I pay down the debt? All those questions they come in with. So I think this is in this foundation planning, it's a really good tool and really good value that we add for them.
Absolutely. Next piece.
Employee benefit review and analysis.
Oh, this one's fun.
I was gonna say this
I
is
love
one
employee
of my favorite.
benefits.
I
Maybe
mean, I
because I
love.
came from HR. But
Yeah, that. Huh.
Okay.
What? Take it, HR. I mean, if we had IT, although she couldn't even turn her own.
Come on now.
sound
Well,
on.
I just think so. Employee benefits, you know, you get a huge packet, or you get it's on the computer somewhere, and are the clients reading everything? Are they taking advantage of everything that they could be using? So I think it's a really good time to optimize. Take a look at that, help them optimize it, and pick what's best for them, their family, and make sure again the benefits are working for them.
Yeah, I think one of the ones I saw, I had a client who was a nurse at the VA, which is amazing. Love the VA. And I'm like, hey, just send me your stuff. Well, we'll go through optimization because you have like 2 weeks. Didn't give me much time. She flops it down, and it is 30 health plans,
Like
30
huge
choices.
book.
You know what people are going to do? They're going to go,
Shut out.
cheapest
Like,
one. This is the cheapest one. Let's just go with it. We'll figure it out later. And not realizing, okay, maybe this one, I think, for example, didn't have Mayo coverage, right? And one didn't have maternity. One, like all these bits and pieces that you don't look into that need to go towards your financial plan. And that's why it is part of the foundations, because it can be detrimental and really get you going as well. Even if we're saying, hey, don't take your benefits. Like that is part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
You might not need to take all of them. It might not make sense, right? If you have disability, we did this with one of our clients of you have one that you're paying for and you have another one that you're paying for. Guess what with disability? You can't double dip. Can't double dip on disability. So why are you double paying? Let's keep the one that makes the most sense, right? Those are just some of those little bit of philosophies.
think
of
even
benefits.
If you're married or have a spouse partner that has benefits and you're able to go on one or the other, it's good to check which is better, which is providing the better coverage,
Yeah, or both, right? What if
right? Or
one-
go on each other.
yeah, you go in each one because maybe they're giving a better discount, or it's 50-50 for individuals only, but the spouse has to pay 100%. Why? Let's take 50-50. Don't
Yeah.
always have to be
You
the same
may,
one.
you may actually find that you're surprised by some of the benefits that you do have when you don't read through the packet and don't understand that everything that's there. You might be missing some pretty awesome benefits too.
So you send it to us and let us do it, right?
So do we include looking at retirement plans, the workplace?
It's a benefit.
Yeah.
All benefits.
We didn't talk about it. I just wanted to
Student,
make sure.
student loan pay down,
So it's whatever
um,
benefits your work offers.
your flexibility, how you want to negotiate your next deal. By deal, I mean contract. Trinity. Fundraising. It's brain's going the other way. Which goes into, obviously, we already mentioned the Roth IRA part. So that's our foundations, right? It'll eventually be on our website, right? That's a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to do. But people are going to ask, like, what does that cost me? Well, just like everything, depends on complexity. I almost said complexibility. You guys, I'm not doing well.
Now he's
It's
making up the
Wednesday.
words.
This accounting,
Wednesday.
the accounting today
I don't know what to.
just destroyed my brain. They're not doing well. So the planning essentials are foundations. Tier starts at $300 a month. Okay. Now everyone's gonna be like, that's a lot of money. Nope, it's really not. But you get us. You get unlimited texts, calls. Just don't do it at night. And Slack, right? You get all of us. You get the whole team leading into that. So as we go through the other tiers, revert back to the foundations. We're not going to go through all of them, right? Go all the way back. They're going to add different things as we go through. So what's next? Now that we have a foundation.
Gotta elevate.
Ooh.
Gotta rise.
Gotta rise.
Gotta rise.
Rise up. Go Falcons.
Maybe next year.
Maybe.
Ouch. Ouch. All right.
I mean, it might take a few years. Let's not say next year. However, best quarterback in the land right now, Matt Ryan, doesn't have any competition in the NFC South, so we're good. We diverge. All right, elevate. Go ahead. You led with it, so you have to take it.
So this is where we get into your investments and optimizing that, and then also looking at your insurance. Do you have insurance? Is anything missing? Could be life insurance, disability, long-term care. Analyze those and provide recommendations. And then also everyone's favorite, property and casualty. Taking a look at your home, auto, all the good stuff. Full picture.
Do you want to, Okay, so when we mean optimize the investment portfolio, in foundations, we're obviously going to do your investments too, right? But it's going to be more on the traditional and basic to get you going side. When we get to elevate, it's time to, lack of a better term, elevate. So now we are diving into those investments and other investments that you can get involved with outside of the traditional standpoint to get you prepared for actually growing your worth. Because growing your net worth, you can do it inside of, ETFs, mutual funds and whatnot, but not to the degree at which you think you can, right? So to elevate you, we're going to dive into that a little more, and that's a huge piece of it. Obviously, our background with Trinity and commercial real estate, Kala with the hedge fund, as well as Kala Capital with some Forex stuff. Like, there's going to be a lot of ways to grow your net worth in that regard. We're going to let the insurance gal take the insurance analysis and recommendations. So explain to the audience what do we mean by that, and why is that in this tier?
Sure. So making sure that you have all the right insurance in place is it's kind of this blend between foundations and elevate, because you can really accomplish both things with the right type of insurance. But specifically with the life, disability, and long-term care stuff, right? Before we can really take big strides in building your net worth, we have to make sure that something happens and you're out there in the wilderness and you haven't been picked up yet. Right? We got to make sure that your plans are still going to happen.
I like what you did there.
Yeah, do you?
She went back to my story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you see how I did that?
I see how you did that.
So that's a big piece of it there. So whether you lose your job for a short period of time, are injured, can't go to work for a period of time, that impacts everything in the foundation bucket, right? Your budget, cash flow, all the things. So we have to make sure that those things are taken care of. Same thing with long-term care. A long-term care event down the line can really impact what's happening with you and your family. And so we have to make sure that we have those things covered, and really get into the nitty-gritty of it with you. And then property and casualty is more about making sure that you can't be held liable for things, and that those liabilities aren't going to come touch your assets. So we have to make sure your assets are protected under any and all circumstances. And so that's really where the importance of those come into play.
Absolutely. And I think going into even a little more complexity with that, yes, we're saying we need to protect everything and all of that. But also these tools can go a very long way in building your wealth while protecting at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the optimization and the personalization that we bring comes into play. Yes, you can go get all these randomly, but does it make sense for your plan? Is it helping build your worth, your net worth? And also, is it making sure that your legacy lasts too? Because these are also legacy plays. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to legacy obviously very shortly. But that's the whole part of this journey, is to get you started, elevate you, prepare you for the next stage. And that next stage is cost. Elevates cost. Minimum is
$500 per month.
$500. Okay, there we go. All right, moving on. Now, after elevating, we
prosper.
I love to prosper. I should be in the gospel. You think I can get away with it?
So I think we should put our Texas location in Prosper, because there's a Prosper, Texas. It's just north.
There's a Prosper, Texas? So
yeah,
you're moving to Prosper then?
No.
I didn't think
so.
What's in Prosper,
that doesn't
Texas?
work very well.
There's some really cool things in Prosper, Texas.
Are people prospering?
I believe they are.
That's cool. That's good. Shout out Prosper, Texas.
Shout out Prosper.
Hey.
Give us a call, Prosper.
All right, so next year it's called
so many people are going to be like Googling Prosper, Texas. Anyways,
I'm going to
back to the Prosper tier. Ryan, take it away.
So in this tier, geez, I can't.
We're losing it. We're losing it.
In this tier, as Stoy mentioned before, it's going to include all of those services that are in those foundations and elevate tiers. We're not going to go back through them, but just making sure that you guys know that it does include those. Along with those, you're going to get some tax planning. Stoy is basically our resident accountant now. It sounds like after today.
I got a minor CPA. That's fine.
Be scared.
But no, we have a partner firm that we work with. E&M, and a lot of that tax planning, or all that tax planning, will go through them, but at the same time working with us, making sure that we're doing all those necessary things to not pay any taxes.
Yeah, I mean, the important piece of
What?
the tax planning is everything we're doing is long-term focused, right?
Yeah.
Building your net worth, leaving a legacy. However, there's a real big caveat there. You need to do that correctly long-term and also make sure that your short-term doesn't get hurt too. And
Yeah.
short-term is really all taxes because it happens, like every year, unless you just don't pay, which don't do that. It's a felony.
Yeah.
I learned that yesterday. Go to jail for that. Tax evasion is what it's called. Big deal, apparently. So you need to make sure that you're optimizing your tax planning on the front end, on the short-term side, but also while you're doing that it takes care of the long-term things, right?
Right.
And we revert back to the whole Roth IRA, traditional IRA conversation, which is episode Roth IRA.
It was the IRA episode.
Team, I need the numbers. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not good at this, but you can go back and look at it. And that's why our philosophy of, hey, let's put it into a brokerage, get through tax planning, then decide where it goes, right? Because we don't want to get stuck in one way or another because it could hurt your short term and your long term at the same time.
Correct. And I think that's something that separates our partner in that tax planning
Shout out
portion.
Brian Morrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also,
So-
you and I grad.
But something that separates him is he will look at retirement planning. He will look at that future stuff, where a lot of accountants that you'll see focus really just on those taxes and what's in front of them, and
It's
not
like
planning for the
backwards,
future.
Looking backwards.
Absolutely.
So he's a very, very futuristic person and plans for that future.
And for those business owners or people who should be business owners that have 1099s or just get money and don't get a 1099, that's an inside thing that she'll probably pick up and text me about. But that being said, is I don't even know where I was going with that because that was just never mind. Anyway,
Still, you're on fire today.
I am on something, not food. That is, I didn't eat today. So obviously, the importance of tax planning, business owners and whatnot, is let the experts do it. And when I mean that is legitimately, all we do is give Brian the tax returns, a couple years of them, current P&L, and he just goes to work. There was one client I remember specifically, handed it to him. It's like one of the first ones. He handed it back. He said, "I can save him $70,000 in taxes," and I went, "Huh? Like a 7 and a 0, 0, 0, 0?" He's like, "Yeah," and it's gonna cost them, I think it was like $8K or $10K, something like that. I was like, "Wait, so going with you, they're going to save 70 and pay 10ish." I was like, "Yeah, client, we're doing this because that's just too big. That's too big of a gap." And it's because of the philosophy around long-term planning, using short-term things, and also being, everyone's afraid of the aggressive term, but being more aggressive to the code of what it is and being willing to go to bat for you because he's the one who's on the hook for it, right? So that's a very, very important piece. And guess what? Brian will be on in 2 episodes. Maybe. I don't know what episodes come out. In 2 weeks,
Are we plugging tax?
he's coming in.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to plug it throughout, but definitely right now. So after tax planning, obviously it's important. What's next on the list?
So we mentioned it a little bit before with long-term care and some of those insurances, but legacy planning. What do you want for? What do you want to leave behind? What sort of legacy do you want to leave behind when, as morbid as it is, your time comes?
When we croak? When we get put 6 feet under? Unless you get cremated and then you're in the
I
dust.
try not to
Then
kill
you're
my
going.
clients. I'm
Then you're
just
going in the
saying.
wind. Who said? Geez, so morbid. Talking
We're
about
not-
killing people? Not murderers.
Murder.
Murder who?
You guys are funny.
Gosh,
mean,
I could plug. I
legacy-
plugged that in this
Yeah.
one and the other one. That's good.
You guys are funny.
We do this too often.
This is an important
ridiculous.
family conversation, definitely.
It is.
The entire family, and not like obviously for older, you need to get your kids and grandkids. For around our age, it's important for us. Our kids aren't old enough to really understand, but we still should include them. But you want to talk about generational wealth building, you have to hit legacy planning.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. I know in the minorities, specifically Black households, there is no generational wealth really, and that's because of not having correct legacy planning. Yes, there's other factors, but specifically not having something in place. And it doesn't mean you have to be worth millions of dollars to have it. It can be worth $50,000, $10,000, 0, But you want to make sure that this gets passed on to the next generation to help them at what they're at. And not just dollars. We've seen it many times.
Mm-hmm.
Dollars get handed over, dollars get spent very, very, very quickly.
Yep.
And then it's gone. And then there's nothing. And that's usually what happens when you get to the lower income, even lower middle class. Their legacy gets handed off and they're thinking it's great, but it's just now cash in hand with no rules or structure behind it, like a trust or a will, preferably a trust, to make sure that that lasts for a very long time.
So not only are we helping establish those for people, but if somebody comes in and they have it established, we're still going to help them update those and continually look at those year after year, correct?
Absolutely. And I know Lindsay and I were talking about this week or last week. Anyway, no matter. No, I was talking to Cheryl about it. Hickerson, shout out. I think this is now legitimately every episode.
Every episode.
You're my
Hey,
girl.
Cheryl.
You're my. Anyways, Cheryl and I were talking about this because of the loss of her father and the fact that family members should not be the ones in charge of the legacy piece.
100%.
Leave that to the experts because the emotions and all the baggage gets involved, and that's how families get broken up, right? We talked about a little bit on my intro about legacy, of why we launched Legacy Fiduciary Services, and it goes to deeper in every conversation had with advisors or family members who've gone through the terrible side of it. Family members should not be in charge of it. That is the experts, and that's us. That's what we're here for. So like you said, if you currently have something, we're going to help optimize it and make sure that it actually occurs. If you don't, let's get one set up. Let's go to work.
And there's always family things that pop up or new things, another kid, something that could be added. So you need to make sure you're always checking on that.
Damn kids. Go back to the kids thing.
Huh?
Well, I think this is a place to talk about how this is how you separate yourself from a legacy generational wealth standpoint. When you talk about wealth transfer with family members, that elevates your entire family in the wealth conversation, because not enough families do that.
Mm-hmm.
Even families in position to transfer wealth from generation to generation, we're not having enough dialogue about how to transfer wealth and what the family intentions are for that wealth going forward. Yeah. So I think that's really important to talk about here too.
Absolutely. And we're getting to the point in our society that there's a lot of older people dying, and they're going to because they're getting old. It's just how it works, that don't have anything in place. Mm-hmm. And the other generations hopefully don't screw it up. But two, it's a cluster, specifically with some of the complexities, just a cluster, right? So we need to hit that. All right, off that train. We'll definitely dive into that a lot deeper. One of my favorites.
I think you got to run with this one.
Yeah,
because
this
is
like you. About it.
This is you.
Look at this! Look at the smile on his face. Like, you have to do this. I think.
Self-directed accounts, right? So in this tier, this is included. Outside this tier, as an add-on, by the way, tax planning, legacy planning, self-directed, and some others are also add-ons, which we'll get to later. I just want to make sure everyone knows this. But self-directed accounts, how much fun can you have with those? So everyone knows an IRA is at this point, I hope. If not, go back to whatever. HSAs we haven't really talked about as much. We did a little bit, not a lot. Did you guys know? Oh, and solo case. Did you know that those could be self-directed accounts?
No.
Did you know that they can own an LLC and go like buy businesses and real estate and all that fun stuff? And apparently LOIs, just learned that one.
No.
I didn't teach you guys that. Told Lindsay a little bit about that. No, Ryan was involved with
there.
that. But
I wasn't
Lindsay,
in that one.
You weren't. But whew, that was a fun one too. There's a lot of different ways that your IRA, self-directed, of course, and I don't mean the self-directed brokerage ones that you get at TD, Schwab. That's not a self-directed account. This is, go look it up, Google it. Shout out to Directed IRA, KKKOS lawyers. I need some free hours because I'm kicking people either way. Brian just had an idea, and it's going to cost us $5.50 an hour. Yeah, so I'm trying to get a little plug. Gotta get a little plug.
Self-directed company.
No. No.
Okay.
The ambition's there.
No, I don't have attorneys like that. No.
Okay.
That scares me.
I'm just checking. You love it so much. I didn't know.
But you get to use those. We get to implement those across everything that goes on, right? All these businesses, LOIs that apparently now new and cool. your IRA can invest in. And guess what happens if your IRA decides to be a 10% owner in that startup, and that startup ends up being $1 billion in 5 years?
Sounds
I mean,
good.
do you
I
make
think that's
money?
mine.
I think you get 10% of that,
Oh, you do.
and that
Okay.
is $100 million, right? Not only that, if it's a Roth,
Ooh,
now it's all
that
tax
sounds
free. It's all
music
tax
to my
free.
ears.
Wait, I can invest, and it's all tax free because it's inside my self-directed IRA. Yeah, absolutely. So the wealthiest of wealth, they use these strategies all the time. All the
And
time.
in case you didn't know, we are geeks about finance because Stoy just geeked out in the worst way over this.
Hey, I say best way, okay? It was the best way. The best geek out. It's fun.
Finance
It grows
geeks.
wealth. There's all the cool little complexities that you're going to get with us. And there's a lot more.
Well, I think, I have
what's
that
important?
conversation with people about self-directed, and most people haven't heard of it.
Right.
So it's like, it's opening up a whole new world, a whole new avenue for people
A
to
whole
build that
new
wealth.
world.
Okay.
Oh my.
That's.
Okay. I'm not joining you in that
I'm
one.
gonna absolutely say this. Greatest Disney movie of all time.
Ooh.
That's
hot
my
take.
that's my hot take of today.
Hot
Aladdin,
take.
best
Aladdin?
Disney movie.
Okay, sorry.
I have so many questions about that.
Just
Ryan,
wait
you're
till you
so
have your
young.
baby.
That's an off-air
Whoa.
situation.
Easy.
Wait. Okay, so self-directed and
Self-
prosper, right?
We digress.
That is obviously near and dear to my heart, really fun to deal with. So those are our initial 3 tiers: foundations, elevate, and prosper. This next jump.
This is a
Prosper
jump.
is $900 a month
Mm-hmm.
minimum starter because of all those other things included. This next jump is not only a jump in cost, but it's an jump in wealth, legacy, everything in your life. And the reason we're on this journey and pushing people towards this, because again, people who have wealth, the wealthiest of the wealth, go this route. And the reason for it is because they can focus on the things that matter the most. They're making money however they're making money and being with their family. The rest of all their other decisions are made for them, handled by someone else. And that's where we get to the next tier of transcend, right? It's time to transcend.
It's time to delegate.
We've went prosper, transcending. To transcend, you have to have a team. Again, that team is still Black Mammoth. This mammoth is a little bigger, but it's fine. And that
We're
is
carrying the whole family on the back.
and that is a family office.
We picked up the whole family here.
The whole family's on.
The whole family. And then when someone dies, like, do we get it? Like, we just hang them off the side, or we just bury them somewhere and then we move on? How's that work?
No.
Anyways, so we get to the family office side. Family office. Can someone give me a simple definition of a family office? Yes, I won't cut in. Sorry.
It means that we're taking care of literally all the inflows and outflows that go through your family for you so that you can focus on the things that bring those inflows and outflows to your family.
Yeah.
Right?
Kind of a trick question. It's not very easy. It's not simple
Yeah,
to
it's not
answer
good to
this.
I know. It's like,
Because this is very complex and very in-depth. So as we walk through the foundations and we were talking about cash flows and budget and everything, that's on the person and how they spend and all that stuff. And actually doing the spending is all on them. Benefits, all of those things really are us saying this is what you need to do. And then you either do it or you don't. We get into the family office side. It is the client saying, get it done. I just want to do this. I need to go make this money and take care of my family, and that is it.
Would you say it's like outsourcing your accounting department? Like outsourcing finances.
It's like outsourcing your entire all your financial decisions. Like all that is out of your brain onto a team, right? For an example, hey, I want to buy this truck. Okay, what type of truck? Cool. We're gonna go find it. We're gonna get the color you want, the package you want, the lending done. All you have to do is sign, and it will be delivered to you. That's one piece, right? Other pieces can go as far as helping run your business, CFO stuff, right? I don't want to do this one, but college education, figuring out the university stuff, all the details, all of the things that we all don't like doing, including ourselves financially, the family office takes care of. Now, if that sounds like something you want, then that's what we're gearing towards. But you get into this realm, and this is when you're obviously prospering. You're doing very well. And now we're transcending. We're taking you to a level that you probably never even thought of. And a big piece of that is investment vetting on top of it. People at this caliber are doing investments all over the place, right? And we don't just mean real estate. We don't just mean, this type of business or that type of business, but they're getting hit up all over the place. Hey, my buddy in Egypt has a apartment complex that I want to get invested in. Sure, send it here. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out the tax piece. We'll figure out how much you can do. How's it going to work? Do you need to recognize the money in America? I mean, there's so many things that go into vetting of an investment. Mm-hmm. And that is all included in the good old family office.
It feels cozy.
It should.
Good.
It should. It should feel cozy.
I mean, I think it lets the family be the family and go out and do what they need to do and just enjoy life, and takes that stress off of them, and again continues to build their wealth.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything to say about Transcend?
I don't think so. I mean, you definitely hit on the stuff. It is. You're getting a lot for what it is, and the only other thing that I can basically say is, I mean, the cost of it.
Yeah,
is what we can talk about.
That's probably the biggest part, because I think we differ than some other family offices that are out there that may differentiate us and why that's important to us.
Let's do the good salesman in marketing. Let's take what people out there are doing, and then whittle it down to ours. Huh? Right? We're supposed to do that. That's what we're taught. So you guys looked it up. You did a little research. A typical multifamily office, technically. What are the costs, and how do you get into one from a numbers perspective? Do you guys remember?
So there was two different kind of fee structures that I saw. One of them is basically 1% of all of your assets. Not just assets that your control, whatever it is. I mean, if you're a family office, we would control that. But all assets, monetary, physical, tangible, anything, 1%. Everything, 1%. So that is one structure. The other structure was basically a flat fee of like $250,000 a year.
Excuse me?
$250,000.
Oh, okay.
Is that $250,000?
$250,000?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Not too shabby.
And some of those, I'm not going to speak for those two past, but a lot of them you have to have $25 million of net worth to even
talk about it,
even knock on the door. Again, Black Mammoth, what we do is we take concepts and we whittle it down to more people to build their wealth. So our structure is, Mr. Fee Guy.
Fee right here. Family office in this Transcend stuff starts at $4,000 a month, and then $750 per additional family member that you're tacking onto that.
And why are we attacking additional family member on?
That's...
And that's an adult, obviously.
And that's what I was going to say. Adult family member.
Not my 4 and 7-year-old. No, get the hell out of here with that. But why is that?
Because as they're young adults, this now establishes and basically forcing them to now establish their own legacy and get that started and keep the legacy rolling, because that's our big thing. Just like we talked about in Prosper, you're getting those things. We want to establish that legacy with you as well and keep that plan rolling.
Absolutely. And when the initial family, mom, dad, die, it's obviously going to, because we created it, roll into the next.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's just how you can continue this legacy going and getting them involved as soon as they turn into an adult. They'll probably be involved before that, but they won't really understand when they're 18 or whenever the family decides to turn that on. That's when we're like, okay, you're at the table now. There's some big decisions that need to be made, right? And it gets them involved to help roll over to that next generation, because this legacy is supposed to last forever. And ever, amen. So that's that cost. Now the last one, our last tier, on our journey, is probably the one that I love the name the best, right? Love me some
Absolutely.
Hawaii. A little Ohana.
I love Ohana.
Little
I use
Ohana?
that at home.
Lisa alluded to that earlier when
I was
she
hoping
said
my
she wanted
journey
her
was in
journey was in
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Hawaii, right? So For
here
the,
we are. We got
for
there.
the audience. Ohana means what?
Family.
Family. Which ties into Kala capital, which Kala in Hawaiian means money and Ohana means family. You think we like Hawaii? Maybe a little bit. We only go, at least once a year. So no. So on this one, this is where now we're in complete control. We're doing all of your bill pay, really taking care of everything, and including travel, right? Before, in Transcend, book your own travel, figure out what you want to do. Now, you're saying, I want to go to Tahiti. Okay. What dates? Got it. Booked. You're on your way.
We're
Okay.
on it.
Bill pay, same way. Now, a lot of things are on auto, of course. We recognize that. But making sure that it's balanced and kosher and going through all of that. And part of that is what we do is we build. I don't want to get into details because I don't want to give everything away. But there is a structure with a certain credit card company that allows you as a family to have one. And that's the only card you need. You don't need, like my wallet has like 4 different things in one slot and like 4 in the other. Doesn't help having a bunch of businesses and whatnot. You get one, we take care of the rest, and we continue to grow, right? So at Ohana, it's everything that you could ever possibly think of. Bill pay, travel, and a lot of that ends up being something with the business too, right? Because that's how it works. So we not much to say about that one because it's family. It's Ohana. It's easy, simple. That minimum is $5,500 per month and $1,200 per additional family member. And then you're done. It's locked in. That's how we do. That's how we roll. So that's our journey. We get you from foundations to Ohana. And the whole way we're here, you're riding on our backs, making us sore. But hey, we'll take care of it.
Right? I love it. I think it finds a place for all different types of people, all different stages of life to be part of our journey together.
Yeah. I think
it lays it out for people too. Like, what are you actually trying to accomplish when you're sitting down and budgeting for the first time, right? Like, what's the ultimate goal that you're trying to get to? This lays it out really clear for them and gives them some aspirations to work towards.
For sure.
I think people will notice a trend in a lot of the stuff that we're talking about, and that's team, family, relationship, these kind of things. Lindsay alluded to it a ton in her intro. We really do want to build that relationship and want you to be like a family member. Like, you're my family now, like you said. And clients, like, don't just think that if you're in one stage and you're not in Ohana, that doesn't mean you're not family to us. Just because Ohana means family, it doesn't mean that you're not family to us. We're going to treat you like your family regardless of the stage.
Well, and Lindsay's Mama Bear, right?
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Yeah.
So we got Mama Bear here.
Yeah. Also, inside joke. We'll fill you in later. Don't worry.
What was in her
my.
episode number?
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it. We'll fill you in later. I don't remember episode. Episode Lindsay.
Episode.
Lindsay episode. Episode 9 or 12. All right, so that's the end of that. Now, there's this other big piece that's missing, and that we've alluded to a little bit, and that's the business side, right? And when we mean business, we also mean nonprofit, legitimately just a business, whatever type of business it is. This is where we do more of the consulting. It can be an add-on to any of these. It can be included. Again, doesn't just happens to be that way. As Brian would probably say, if you're going to do any of these, we're going to run it through a business if you have a business, right? Because then you get a nice little deduction, and that makes these numbers lesser to you. So benefit, right? Perks, all about the perks. Here, this is where it gets kind of crazy, and outside of the tax side, because we'll let Brian go down that rabbit hole. What are some things that we can do for you and help you through on the business side of the aisle?
Well, first things first, because we're about to do this for somebody or help them, is setting up that business. The name, the docs, everything. We're going to help you through that portion of setting that initial foundation.
Oh, absolutely. So, yep. So if you don't have one, it's a good start. It's a great start. What's next? So, well, we'll use them from our last meeting, employee benefits.
Employee benefits.
Right? Making sure that you can, attract and retain.
Motivate.
And motivate. Been in this industry way too long. That's Gross. Which also comes into play with retirement plans. Those are all benefits together. But also those, I don't want to use it, alternative benefits. I need a better word. I got to get rid of alternative. And what we mean by those is, what if about student loan pay down? Right? That's a big one that's happening. Flexibility of hours. That's apparently a pressing issue as we speak with a lot of places. All of those are alternative things that can be built in that don't have to be on a piece of paper with 18 documents that says pick one, right? Those can be involved with it as well. Well, employee financial planning, right? Hey, business owner, here's a really good perk. You might not want to spend thousands of dollars on other benefits, but hey, why don't you pick up 50% of their financial planning bill and really build their worth? And guess what? They'll probably stay with you longer because they're happier because everything's taken care of.
I love this idea because I think you see, 401k provider or someone come in and do the onboarding once a year. How do you set up that? And then it's not again. So again, we've talked about like this is lifelong learning. We're there to be able to do that for the employees, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, and if they're constantly focused on their finances, then they're probably not focused on producing for you.
Right.
So, I mean, if we help them in that journey with as personal financials, then they're probably going to be a little bit better of an employee on that end too.
Right.
Absolutely.
Financial stress is huge in the workforce. So
Yeah.
It's huge in marriage, huge in life.
everything.
I mean, it's just
So
money is is not everything, but it is everything. It's every stressor. We'll go with that. Obviously, the owner, their financial planning. And then the big one is CFO services. Again, we'll have Brian on more in detail with some tax stuff, which alludes into some CFO work. But when we mean CFO work, a lot of people think CFO and accountant are the same, and they're not. They're drastically different, right? CFO is the visionary, helping you put revenue models together, who to hire, why to hire, what structure. That's our expertise, to really get the business moving forward and help you on a day-to-day, week-to-week. It just depends.
future
Future,
growth.
whatever.
A lot of cost-benefit analysis.
A lot of cost benefit analysis. So that's what goes into the business planning side. Again, that tier doesn't have a number to it because that is a very customizable, complex, variable-driven situation there. So, all right, we're gonna wrap up soon. But before we do, any final thoughts from the squad, the team, the Ohana, the fam?
The fam.
I am.
Nothing? Nobody?
I mean, so I think one thing that I will mention, when we're in our processes and we're sitting down with you initially and we're trying, people don't necessarily have to start in Foundations or have to start in Elevate or have to start in Prosper or any of those. It's our job to figure out what's in the best interest for you. So you might be past Foundations and you might need a few of these other services or all of these other services. So we're probably going to say, hey, you know what? Prosper's the best tier for you to be in, just based off of the services that I think, would benefit you the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
And along with that, if you want to be in Foundations or you want to be in Elevate and you don't necessarily want to jump up to that Prosper, there's some a la carte options on here to help, pad those other tiers.
I love the a la carte menu at restaurants. So I think it's good to add on like this year I may need X on top of what I'm already doing.
Absolutely.
And it tastes good. It sounds good. I'm adding it.
And fun fact, we'll use your accountant too. We're not tied to Brian to where you have to use them. We're going to work with anyone's accountant to get these things done, and maybe bring some different tools that they've never had before, just to let everyone know. Little plug. I just didn't want to miss that out. Next. Anybody else? Because Lindsay's going to finish it, so she knows, but she doesn't know. Yeah, see that shocked face? Team, I want you to take that face, and I want you to do a clip of her shocked face so we can reuse
That's
it.
awesome.
A meme of sorts. Thanks.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think we bring it back to the beginning on your little journey you took us on, and you think about New York City, which I've lived. It is crazy. Stuff all around you.
There's
it's distracting. People. Lots of people
Do it.
in the financial world, and that's like in your head if you're stressed out about whatever's going on. And being able to find a team that can help you move through those stages and get to a place where you feel safe, you feel secure, you feel taken care of is the best thing that we could do for people. And that's why we're here.
Absolutely. So we appreciate it. We also appreciate connections that we have that bring us goods. You don't see it, but I need you to
there it
talk
is.
about this. This is how we're ending it.
There it
Shout
is.
out. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So there's this awesome company here in Dallas Fort Worth called Ice Shaker. This is their logo. You can't really see it on the white.
Can you see it on the black one?
Yeah, you absolutely can. I don't know if the camera can.
It's
but
not on it. You got to come.
Okay, but look at how awesome this thing is. This tumbler.
Oh, look at it. Look, I'm doing a sales thing for Ice Shaker. By the way, Chris, yeah, you need a meeting with Lindsay because I'm doing this. Look at that. Look at that. This has always been the problem. A little ball gets stuck.
You lose them.
And you lose them, and then you got nothing. So the shaker included with it. So, audience, Ice Shaker.
Ice Shaker.
If you want Black Mammoth ones, they're available for sale for $20. We'll send them to you. We'll ship them. Free shipping for you, not for us. That's not how it works. Wish it did. As well as we'll have Colin Trinity available on top of it. And maybe if we plug him hard enough, I think Lindsay could maybe get him on our podcast.
Are we going to try and get Chris on here?
I think we should. I mean, his story of how this company even got to where it's at
It's pretty awesome.
is tremendous, and I think can go down some really cool paths that way. So I think
That's awesome.
I think you should try to do that. But Chris, no pressure.
No pressure. Mm-mm.
Zero pressure. All right, we're out. We're done for the day.
Who's wrapping it? Where can you find us?
Oh, yeah, we'll do it.
All right, do your job.
Well, I was waiting for you to. But as always, everybody, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe, follow, share. We're going to be on any platform that you can find your podcast. We're on YouTube as well. A ton of different socials. NoBS Wealth on socials, Instagram, Twitter. We have our Black Mammoth Facebook pages, our Trinity Facebook pages.
TikTok.
TikTok. We do have TikTok. So if you guys might see some on there. But as always, comment to us, follow links, email us, call us.
Let us know what you
show up
wanna
at our
know.
office.
Yeah, show up at the office. Full bar. Promise you.
Exactly. So, we're here for you guys. So any questions you guys have, shoot them our way.
The preceding program was sponsored by Black Mammoth. Any awards, rankings, or recognition by unaffiliated third parties or publications are in no way indicative of the advisor's future performance or any individual client's investment success. No award, ranking, or recognition should be construed as a current or past endorsement of Black Mammoth. Information regarding specific awards, rankings, or recognitions is available on the Black Mammoth website, www.blackmammoth.com. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. Investment strategies such as asset allocation, diversification, or rebalancing do not assure or guarantee better performance and cannot eliminate the risk of investment losses. There are no guarantees that a portfolio employing these or any other strategy will outperform a portfolio that does not engage in such strategies. This broadcast should not be construed by any client or prospective client as a solicitation to effect or attempt to effect transactions and securities or the rendering of personalized investment advice due to various factors including changing market conditions. The information discussed in this broadcast may no longer be reflective of current positions or recommendations. While information presented is believed to be factual and up-to-date, Black Mammoth do not guarantee its accuracy, and it should not be regarded as a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. The tax and estate planning information discussed is general in nature and is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal or tax advice. Listeners should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding their specific legal or tax situation. Past performance is not indicative of future results.